Dear students, welcome to my next class on solid state. In the previous class, I had started solid state and I explained you some of the general characteristics of solids. I told you that the solids will be classified into crystalline solids and amorphous solids. In the last class, we have also learned that only gases and liquids can flow. That is why those are called as fluids. The gas molecules can flow as well as the liquid part molecules can move. As the molecules are flowing there, those are called as fluids. The word is applicable only for gases and liquids. Fluid means that flows. Gases and liquids are called as fluids. But if you take solids, the molecules or the constituent particles can only oscillate within their mean position. They cannot leave their actual position and move to the another place, that is translatory motion. They have only oscillatory motion. But here in solids, as I told, first type is crystalline solid and second type is amorphous solid. You all know that amorphous solids molecules will not have any definite orderly arrangement. And I told you these have very short range order. Amorphous, the particles will be arranged orderly only for a short distance. That orderly arrangement will not exist throughout the crystal. Throughout the solid. But crystalline solids will have orderly arrangement throughout entire crystal, throughout the crystal. Entire crystal there is a repeating pattern. The regular pattern will be repeated by intervals. Periodically it is repeated. But that repetition of orderly arrangement will not be there for an amorphous. That is why it is called as amorphous. Amorphous means no form. But in amorphous, I told you, the amorphous, the particles move, but their movement is very slow and the rate of flow is very slow. For example, if you take a quartz glass, I had told you quartz glass is an example for an amorphous. The best example is the window glass is an example for an amorphous. If you observe the thickness of the window glass, it was uniform when we fit that glass to the window. But after few years, what you can observe is the thickness at the bottom will become more. If you take amorphous, if you take a window glass that is an amorphous, after few years what you can observe, the bottom edge will have more thickness. Bottom is thicker than the remaining part of the glass. Why its thickness has been increased? Because the constituent particles, that is the molecules or atoms present in the glass have been flown. But the flow rate is very slow. As they have flown, the thickness at the bottom has been increased. That is why amorphous is called as amorphous is known as pseudo solid. Pseudo, pseudo. It is known as a pseudo solid. The amorphous is taken as a pseudo solid, and it is also called as a, already I told you, super cooled liquid. It is also called as a super cooled liquid. So it flows like a liquid, but the movement of the particles is very slow. It takes years to flow. So this is all about the amorphous, why it is called as a pseudo solid. Now let us go for the next part of the lesson, that is the classification of the crystalline solids. In the remaining part we are going to study what is the classification of the crystalline solids. How we classify the crystalline solids? We take the intermolecular forces into account for the classification of crystalline solids into four types. Crystalline solids will be classified into four types, and what is the basis for their classification? The kind of intermolecular forces present among the particles of the crystalline solids. So crystalline solids have been divided into four types, that is molecular crystalline solids or molecular solids. Second one is ionic crystalline solids, ionic solids or ionic crystalline solids. And the third one is metallic crystalline solid, metallic crystalline solid. We also call it as metallic solids. And fourth one is covalent molecular crystalline solids or covalent solids. These are also called as network solids, network crystalline solids. Let us go into the details. So all the crystalline solids have been classified into four types: based on the kind of intermolecular forces presenting among the particles of the crystal. You all know that the intermolecular forces and the thermal energy will decide the state of any matter. When the intermolecular forces are stronger than the thermal forces, we call it, it results in solid state. In solid state, what is the dominating force? That is intermolecular force are dominating. That is attractive forces are more in any solid than the thermal forces. There are different types of intermolecular forces or attractive forces. If the intermolecular forces are van der Waals forces, those will be molecular solids. In molecular solids, I told you that this classification is based on the type of intermolecular forces presenting on them. Molecular crystals will have van der Waals forces. Ionic solids will have ionic forces. That is nothing but electrostatic attraction between the oppositely charged ions. In metallic solids, metallic bonding will the intermolecular force. The intermolecular force presenting in metallic crystalline solids is metallic bonding. In covalent solids, covalent bonding will be the intermolecular force presenting in the crystal. So these are the four classes of crystalline solids. Now let us study in detail. Let us go to the first type of molecular solid. Just now I told you that van der Waals forces will be present in molecular solids. These molecular solids consist of molecules. If you see the title here, molecular solids, that means these crystalline solids will have molecules as the constituent particles. That is why those are called as molecular solids. These molecular solids again divided into three types. The first one is a non-polar molecular solids, molecular crystalline solids. Second one is polar molecular crystalline solids, and the third one is hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline solids. So the crystalline solids have been divided into four types based on the intermolecular forces presenting among the particles of the crystal. Molecular crystalline solids, ionic crystalline solids, metallic crystalline solids, and finally we have covalent crystalline solids. The first type of crystalline solids are molecular solids. So in molecular crystalline solids, what are the constituent particles? Molecules. They will have molecules as the constituent particles. Sometimes they may molecules, and even some atoms like helium and neon, they will be present in the form of atoms. You all know that inert gases consist of only one atom, so that they are monoatomic gases. So that here helium, neon will be having atoms themselves. So anyway, here molecules are the constituent particles. There are three types of molecular solids. That is non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular crystalline solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline solids. Let us take the first one. That is a non-polar crystalline solid, non-polar crystalline or molecular crystalline solid. What are the constituent particles here? In these non-polar crystalline solids, we have non-polar molecules like hydrogen, H2, chlorine or iodine, or certain atoms like helium, neon, argon, etc. These are the atoms. So in non-polar molecular crystalline solids, the constituent particles are non-polar molecules like H2, Cl2, I2, or they may have atoms like argon, helium, neon. These are monoatomic gases, inert gases. The non-polar means the covalent, the molecules are non-polar here. That means the covalent bonds presenting in them is non-polar. Hydrogen, non-polar covalent bond. What are polar and non-polar covalent bond? Same type of atoms will form non-polar covalent bonds. Different types of atoms will form polar covalent bonds. So these are all non-polar. That is why it is called as non-polar crystalline solids. Non-polar crystalline solids consist of either atoms like helium, neon, argon, or hydrogen, chlorine, I2 like non-polar molecules as their constituent particles. But what are the intermolecular forces presenting in them? The intermolecular forces presenting in them is dispersion force. The dispersion forces are the intermolecular forces presenting in the non-polar crystalline solids. You have studied different types of forces presenting among the atoms or particles in the first PU. So here dispersion forces are, this is also called as London dispersion forces. In non-polar crystalline solids, non-polar molecules are atoms like argon, helium, neon will be the constant particles. They have dispersion forces among the particles, and these are soft. These are very soft. As they are soft, they will have low melting point. Their melting point will also be very low, and these are electrically insulators. That means non-conductors of electricity. These are non-conductors of electricity. So these are the general characteristics. And one more important thing, this will be existing either in a gaseous state or in the liquid state at the room temperature and pressure. Only at the room temperature and pressure I am saying that these will be existing either as liquids or gases. But when you vary the temperature, you all know that when gases are condensed, they will be changing into liquids. On cooling, it will change into solid. We are talking about their solid states. So on cooling, they will become solids. So at the room temperature, they will be either in gaseous state or liquid state. So these are the general characteristics of non-polar. So what are the forces in non-polar molecular crystalline solids? Dispersion forces or London forces. They will be soft and they will have very low melting point, and they are electrically insulators, and their state will be either gaseous state or liquid state at the room temperature and pressure. Let us move to the second type of molecular crystalline solid. What is the second type of molecular crystalline solid? The second type of molecular crystalline solid is already listed like polar crystalline solid. Polar molecular crystalline solid. This is the second type of crystalline solid. First type is over. Now we are studying polar molecular solids. So here polar crystalline solid. If you see the title, you can say that here polar molecules. The molecules like SO2, HCl will be the examples for polar crystalline solids. These molecules have polar covalent bonds. Polar covalent bonds means the covalent bond that is formed between two different atoms is known as polar covalent bonds. So in these molecules, here also molecule, and all the molecular solids, molecules are the constituent particles. But in non-polar molecules will be there. In polar molecules will be there. So here the molecules like SO2 and HCl, they have polar covalent bonds. So the crystalline solids in which the constituent particles are polar molecules like SO2 and HCl, where there exist polar covalent bonds. And what are the forces presenting between these particles of these crystals? This is, you all know that this dipole interactions. Dipole and dipole interaction will be the force of attraction present between the molecule. In non-polar, it is dispersion forces. In polar, it is a dipole interactions. Why it is dipole? Because these will have dipoles. Why? Because if you take HCl, HCl will have partial positive charge and Cl minus will have partial negative charge. If we keep one more HCl molecule, what will happen? One HCl will attract the other HCl molecule. Here, the Cl minus will attract the H plus of the other molecule, HCl. So anyway, here this interaction is called as dipole interaction. For example, this is HCl. One molecule I have written here, and one mole HCl I am writing here. So in polar crystalline solids, polar molecules will be the constant particles here, and here you can see that this is one dipole, this is the another dipole. This slight negative charge will attract the slight positive charge, so that we have an interaction here. So that what you can say, in polar crystalline solids, dipole forces will be dipole forces will be the intermolecular force. Next, these are also very soft. These crystals will also be very soft, and this will have low melting points. This will also have low melting points, but these melting points will be little higher than that of non-polar molecular crystalline solids. So polar crystalline solids will have little higher melting points than non-polar crystalline solids, but these are also have, in general, these will also have low melting points, and these will also exist either in gas state or in a liquid state at the given, at the room temperature. And one more important thing, these are also insulators. So these are also electrically insulators. So these will have dipole forces, and these are very soft, and these will have low melting points, and these will be in the either in the gaseous state or in the liquid state, and these will also be electrically insulators. Polar crystalline solids also electrically insulators. Now let us move on to the next class of a molecular crystalline solid, that is hydrogen bonded crystalline solids. Easy to remember. So here non-polar consists of non-polar molecules like H2, I2, Cl2, or atoms like helium, neon, argon, and dispersion forces will be present. Here molecules like SO2 and HCl will be there, where polar covalent bonds are present, and forces will be dipole interactions. And the next one is hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline solids. Hydrogen bonded crystalline solids. Hydrogen bonded means it's clear that they will have hydrogen bonding. The intermolecular forces will be hydrogen bonding. So let us go to the third type here, that is hydrogen bonded crystalline solids or hydrogen bonded solids. What are the constituent particles? For example, you can take water molecule. So what is there in water molecule? Hydrogen bonding is there. So here the constituent particles consist of the molecules. These molecules have hydrogen bonding among themselves. Hydrogen bonding, you all know that, is the bonding between hydrogen and more electronegative atom like nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. So that in hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline solids, the molecules such as H2O here in the solid state, I am taking ice. So these crystals will have hydrogen bonding. One H2O will have hydrogen bonding with the other. So that what are the forces here presenting? Hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonding is the force of attraction presenting in the hydrogen bonded cell. Here dispersion forces, here dipole forces, here hydrogen bonding. And these are also soft. These are also soft here. And next characteristic, if you study this, this will also have low melting point. This will have also low melting point, and these are also electrically insulators. These hydrogen bonded solids have hydrogen bonding as the intermolecular force, and these are soft, and these are low melting points. These are insulators, and this will be either in the liquid state, liquids or soft solids, the state at the room temperature. This will be either in the liquid state or as the soft solids they will be existing. So this is the first class of crystalline solids. Molecular crystalline solids have been divided into non-polar, polar, and hydrogen bonded. We have studied all the three: non-polar, polar, and hydrogen bonded molecular crystalline solid. Now let us move to the second type of crystalline solids. What is the second type of crystalline solid? Molecular crystalline solid is the first one, and the second one is ionic crystalline solid. Ionic crystalline solid. What are ionic crystalline solids? Ionic crystalline solids. Here, what are the constituent particles? Ions are the constituent particles. For example, here you can consider NaCl, zinc sulfide, magnesium oxide, etc. are the examples for ionic crystalline solids. So these ionic crystalline solids consist of ions. So the ionic crystalline solids consist of ions. Ions are the constituent particles. Ions means they may have cations and anions. So in ionic crystalline solids, what are the forces of attraction? That is electrostatic forces. Electrostatic forces. What is meant by electrostatic forces? The force of attraction present between the two opposite ions, oppositely charged ions. For example, if you take NaCl, Na plus will attract Cl minus, Cl minus will attract Na plus. This is nothing but Coulombic force of attraction or electrostatic forces of attraction. So ionic crystalline solids consist of ions like cations and anions. For example, here Na plus and Cl minus, and the electrostatic forces will be the forces presenting among themselves. And second thing is, these are very hard and brittle. Hard, but these are very brittle, and these will have high melting point. The melting point of these are very high. Why? Because the forces of attractions are very strong here. Anion will attract the cation very strongly, so that they will have high melting point. But in the solid state, these are insulators. Directly, if you take these crystals in the solid state, NaCl or zinc sulfide or any of that, in the solid state, these are insulators. Electrically, these are insulators in the solid state. But either in the aqueous solution or in the molten state, these will be conductors, electric conductors. So I am telling that ionic crystals in the solid state do not conduct electricity, they are insulators. Why? The ionic crystals will consisting of ions which are strongly packed. They won't move. The ions are not free to move. But when you prepare their aqueous solution, that means a solution prepared by taking water as the solvent, the ions will be free. When you prepare their aqueous solutions, the ions will become free and they can move towards the opposite plates in the electric field. So here free ions are available in the aqueous solution or in the molten state. When you heat them, will get the molten state, will get the liquid. There the ions are free to move. So in the solid state, these are insulators, but in the aqueous, either in the aqueous or molten state, these are electric conductors. So these are the characteristics of ionic crystalline solids. Ionic crystalline solids consists of ions as the constituent particles. We all know that cations and anions are presenting in ionic crystals, and the force of attraction is the electrostatic force, and these are very hard and brittle. These will have high melting point, and this will be insulators in the solid state, and they can conduct electricity either in the aqueous solution or in the molten state due to the availability of the free ions. So this is the second type of crystalline solids. First type is molecular crystalline solids, where the molecules are the constituent particles in that crystals. Molecules are the particles there. In ionic crystals, ions are the constituent particles. The next type of crystalline solids is metallic crystalline solids, and the last one is covalent crystalline solids. We will study the remaining two classes of crystalline solids in the next class. Thank you.